Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of How I Fixed Your Data today with Karin. Karin, can you tell me a bit more about yourself and what you do in the HubSpot world?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you for having me as your first guest. I'm truly honored. I'm Karin Tamir. I'm the CEO and founder of Glare Marketing. We are a HubSpot Platinum partner doing everything related to HubSpot issues, whether it's onboarding, ongoing support, and complex integrations with HubSpot.
Nice. And in these projects, like, do you run into duplicates? Do you have a specific use case of
Of,
that you want to
of
highlight?
Of course, we actually, I think that one of the things that uh, drew my attention to Qualify was the fact that actually in every portal that we start to work with, we see the duplicates issue. It's always an issue because most of the companies today use some sort of an enrichment tool, or even if they do not, and they have imports, and when you look at their data, it's a mess. And the specific use case that I have for you today is a very unique and special use case in a sense that it has nothing to do with any of the things that I just mentioned, but it is an interesting use cases because also a lot of companies have today integrations between their platforms and HubSpot, and this is the use case I want to present to you today. It's a company that actually gives companies and mostly companies a credit line that is not within the bank. I mean,
Mhm.
outside the bank credit line. They have their own platform that people are connecting to. Of course, it's a very regulated platform, very regulated industry, and
Mhm.
it is connected to HubSpot. This is also something that we constantly improve, but it is connected to HubSpot,
Okay.
and they have tons of duplicates. I mean, I don't even remember how many duplicates they had
Mhm.
before we used Qualify,
Yeah.
but there were tons of them. I mean, the 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 person that I'm working with, which is the project manager and the CMO, used to go daily. Every morning, she used to go into a dashboard that I prepared for her,
Mhm.
that actually had HubSpot duplicates and had to do them manually because there's no way to do it automatically.
Okay.
And the reason for the duplicates is that people sometimes just, when they start the process, they enter with no emails.
Mhm.
They just submit a form, a regular HubSpot form, without an email or with an email. And then they're going and submitting another form that doesn't have an email, which comes from the company, actually, from the integration, sorry, from the platform,
Mhm.
and this is the starting point of the mess.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. So if I understand it correctly, it's mainly sometimes also earlier in the funnel where they convert on forms, on HubSpot forms on their website, and then later on in the funnel when they actually go into the platform, they can convert again, but through the platform, and that creates most of the duplicates in HubSpot.
Yes, it's not a reconversion, but it's a process. It's a one process. They start with most of the contacts start with HubSpot form.
Mhm.
They use that to start the process, and then they're being transferred to an external screen that is also, this is already a part of the platform.
Mhm.
They have this authentication process that they need to do and upload all sorts of documents that they need. And during that process, when they enter the email, it's only in a very late stage. And then basically we had tons of duplicates based on that because HubSpot doesn't use phone as an identifier,
Yeah,
and we don't always get their emails.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. And what were the main challenges? of these duplicates in HubSpot? Like what were they running into?
So we used to have there were some, I mean, the more dominant one were um, identical phone numbers with sometimes it was the same name, sometimes it wasn't. But HubSpot doesn't recognize that because HubSpot doesn't use the phone number as a unique identifier. And also, even if you use a customized property, you still cannot make it as a unique identifier in the contact level. So this can be one use case. The second is that it's the same name but with different email.
Yeah.
So
And
this is what we used to see.
did this have an impact on the customer itself, on the user itself? Like were they receiving different messages tackled twice?
It has, I'll tell you, because the process is based mainly upon I mean, the external one is based mainly on the platform communication with the customer is affected to a certain degree. The
Mhm.
problem was more internally because then they would have too many deals. When I'm talking about a deal, I'm saying they finished the onboarding process and then they're actually starting to pull money out of this credit line that they just received. And then we could have seen 3, 4 duplicate deals for the same contacts. They actually didn't mean anything. It was just one. Then these were the main problems. I mean, not just in the communication with the customer, but also internally, because it created an inaccurate data.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Then how did you resolve these duplicates? How did you tackle them? You mentioned the dashboard. Could you clarify that
Yes.
dashboard?
So the first dashboard that we saw, actually the first one that we did, this was I'll show you the dashboard. This is the dashboard that she used to work with.
Okay.
I created a sort of a health dashboard for her, like I'm doing for all of my customers. Usually, it includes all of those pieces of information that it is important for that customer to follow and make sure that they are intact.
Mhm.
For her, seeing the duplicates was very, very important. The problem is, so it was here in the dashboard. I can tell you that when I started working with her, first started working with which was I think a year ago, they had like 1,000 here, thousands. I'm talking about thousands of contacts,
Okay.
duplicated contacts, and she had to go daily, okay, and merge them manually.
Okay.
So it cut quite a lot of her time.
Mhm.
And then it was a process. You were part of that process, and we had to find the right way to actually um, to decide on the rules. It was really hard for her at the beginning to count on a platform, external platform, to do the work that she does manually because she said, okay, but I'm looking at a lot of parameters. I'm not just coming and merging them blindly. I have parameters that I'm looking.
Mhm.
And then we actually, again, with your kind assistance, we managed to come up with a system that works for them,
Mhm.
that takes into account all the parameters that are important for them. So we base it on, wait, I'll go show you first based on what we decided that there are duplicates.
Yeah.
Now we're focusing mainly on mobile.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is how we relate to our duplicates. And the primary rules for us now are, and this was, it took us a while to build, and you know it.
Yeah.
So it was very important for us, again, to do the exact same process that she does. So she first went and checked if the form was submitted in a certain way. So we created a dedicated property for that. If this contact was indeed within those two, was created via this form, this is the primary, this is the merging. If not, go to an internal email. If it's identical, go to the email and then check Gmail, Hotmail, or iCloud. And lastly is the create date.
Yeah.
So we kind of, again, this is the way the thought process that she did
Hmm.
when she had to do the same thing manually.
Yeah.
So, and the workflow that we used is actually, you see, it is actually based on mobile only. We're
Hmm.
take relate right now. We treat only that. We do not take anything else. Uh, we will probably will really soon. So we're taking the mobile. That is the not the primary. We have a delay here because there are some sort of internal processes that they're going through,
Hmm.
and then we are merging them.
Okay.
That's it for the contacts. I can
Nice.
honestly tell you that there are significantly less. I mean, there are some duplicates because we're not relating to everything. Okay,
Hmm.
we're going just by the mobile because for us right now, as we said earlier, as I told you earlier, the mobile is an identifier.
Yeah.
It is an identifier for them because this is the one thing they have this, they do the authentication process.
Hmm.
So when they do the authentication process, the mobile is the one thing that they need. Without that, they just cannot continue the process. So
Okay.
for them, the mobile is the most important piece of information.
Okay, clear. So you detect the duplicates mainly based on the mobile phone number, and then
Yeah.
you prioritize them, or you set rules to prioritize which record should be the primary in a similar way as was done manually before, where like
Yes.
the internal form submission, if a contact has done that internal form submission, it should be prioritized. Then if it has an
Mm.
internal email, it should be prioritized. Then an email, so you make it very specific who should be the primary contact in a merge. And then in the last step, you automatically merge in a workflow. So whenever a contact duplicate is detected based on the mobile phone number, they're merged into its primary duplicate, which is set here,
Exactly.
saving her hopefully some time to do
Tons of
manual.
time. Tons of
Yeah.
time. We also have similar. We also did for the companies. We also did that because they also had mergers, companies, duplicates, companies. For them, a company is not the regular company that we think of when we think of HubSpot for the company and the domain. They have different, for them, this thing that you see here is actually their main, this is the unique identifier. So we are using a different rules. But
Hmm.
again, this took us a while to come up with them, again, with your kind assistance. And it's working. So,
Okay, cool.
and again, it's not just when I'm talking here, I'm not just talking about um, data hygiene, but for them, it means a lot more. It's not just about data hygiene. It's about, at the end of the year, since it's a very regulated industry, they need to report how many
Hmm.
loans they gave, how much money was withdrawn within those loans. And if the data on HubSpot is not accurate,
There's no way to do that.
no. So it
Yeah.
has to be accurate. And
Okay.
so this is why we're also doing daily monitoring of that data daily.
Mhm. Okay.
But I think that Koalify here was a lifesaver.
Cool. Thanks to yeah, for those kind words. Do you have an idea roughly of how many duplicates you merged over the past months? A rough
Oh,
estimation.
interesting. It's interesting. I'll see. Let's take a look. Okay, so in terms of the contacts, ever since we uploaded it, everything since we created the workflow, which was about a month and a half ago.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm talking about October 30. where we just turned on the workflow, created, we turned on probably a day or two later. We enrolled almost two 2,500
Okay.
contacts.
Yeah, that's a reasonable amount in like a month and a half.
Yeah,
That, that was
that's a
different.
lot for them. It means a lot for them. And I think that now she has faith in the tool. I know
Yeah,
it's hard it's hard to make customers believe in the tool, but once they see it is working, it is very super easy to pull them in and tell them, okay, let's do more.
yeah,
I wish it could also deduplicate deals, you know.
yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's on the roadmap. Uh, yeah, but
Nice.
I hope maybe by when this recording will be shared, we'll have a better date
Ah,
on the release. But
great.
cool. This was very insightful. Like, what are your main key takeaways as a final piece?
Um, Again, I'm using it. I started using Koalify for every new customer that we start to work with. I'm not talking about onboarding because there it's a clean platform. Even though, even when you do onboarding and you have to import data,
Yeah.
some sort of deduplication is required, but it's in the proportions are different. But when we're talking about starting to work with enterprise customers who has they don't even have to be enterprise, when we start to work with a customer that is have HubSpot working for more than a year or two, I just this is one of the first steps that I'm doing is installing Qualify, and just to show the customer, look, this is what you have, and this is what you can save if you would use it to do this merging automatically.
Mhm.
So this is an important for me. It's an important when I use it, I feel that I have this my unique edge
Yeah.
because I know that I'm using it and no one else does. No one that I know. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Sorry,
No, no,
I'll
no.
rephrase that.
No worries. Not,
No
no,
one
yeah.
in the no partner here, at least from what I know here in
Yeah.
Israel, uses that, and it's an edge
Yeah,
that I
it
can
is.
show them. Okay, this is what it is. You can save tons of time.
Mhm.
So this is one, and the second is to pay attention to what you do
Yeah.
to avoid mistakes. And I think that a hard lesson that I've learned was okay, just use a specific rule that you can specify all of them,
Mhm.
all the rules that you have, but do not use when the rule is known because it can cause a lot of mess.
Yeah.
We've been there. We've managed to fix that again
Yeah.
with you and teams, top
Tim? Yeah.
teams,
Yeah.
team amazing help. But I just think it's a must-have tool for every company.
Yeah, cool. That's really nice. Yeah, merges are unfortunately irreversible at this point, but HubSpot is updating their merge behavior in 2025, where when a contact and company are merged, a new record will be created, so a new record ID, and the two old record IDs are still available. So maybe that opens up the potential for unmerging. Let's see in 2025. That would help not only our qualified customers, but I think HubSpot customers in general, because more people sometimes mistakenly merge
Yeah, they
contact and
want to
company.
unmerge and they cannot.
It's
So,
currently not possible. Yeah,
yes, I know. We invested a lot of time in it,
yeah,
we know.
yeah. We also
Yeah.
learned the hard way, but I'm pretty positive that that will be possible, maybe in 2025, but see.
Looking forward.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for your time and for your insights,
Thank
Karen.
you.
This was very, very nice for our first episode of how I fixed your data. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.